It was a really interesting book.
I think the book was actually great. I just want to know what your thoughts.
Coach Carter. It's a powerful movie.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Spotlight series.
This is the show where we talk all about stories you know, and maybe some you don't.
My name is Ivan, and this is my co-host Mathew. Today, we're going to be putting the spotlight on Alive, Coach Carter, Sully, Everest, and Legally Blonde.
These are powerful stories of survival, resilience, and chasing your dreams. And today, we're going to be comparing them to our lives.
All these stories connect with one or another, and today we'll be discussing all these stories. So sit back, relax, and this is the Spotlight series. So Matthew, what are your thoughts on the novel study Everest that we did in class?
It was a really interesting book, because Dominic, a small kid who's, 13?
Yeah, 13 or 14, yeah.
Somewhere around that age, right? And it just, a small kid who's skinny, small, not very strong, who wants to be like his older brother, who climbs mountains, who does climbing. And he won a contest and got to go on a trip to Everest. And he's putting in so much effort towards his goal, even though he's a small kid, right? You wouldn't expect a small kid like that to go climbing, but he wants to follow his goal and achieve it, and that's what he did, which goes to show no matter what happens in your life, whether maybe you're small, maybe you aren't very strong, maybe you're not very smart, you can still achieve any realistic goal that you want to do, you know? And it resembles with my life in a way, because there's been goals I've had in the past that even though maybe I wasn't strong enough to do something, I worked towards achieving my goals. It's all you have to do is just have the motivation to be able to do it. So that's my perspective on it. What about you?
I think the book was actually great. I really liked the book and how it shows characters as in leaders, and how Coach Captain Sarah can lead an entire group and he knows who to prepare and stuff. I really like that about the book. I think the book relates to my life in some way of Cap Cero and Dominic. Dominic, he got lucky and he really wanted to go climbing. He's a climber, right? Dominic's a climber and he really wanted to go to Everest. And he put in the effort and tried hard and actually ended up going to climbing to Everest because he really wanted to do it. That was his goal. I think that reflects with me because when I really want to do something, I do it. A couple years ago, I started coding, right? Yo, game development, this fire. So I found a small community and they taught me a lot of coding stuff, and for beginners and for more expert coding skills. And that, I feel like that's kind of what Dominic went through. He really wanted to do something, so he went through a training to do it. Just like I really wanted to make games, so I went through a training and learned how to code. And Captain Cero, I think he relates to me because he's a good leader. He knows when a person is weak and when they can't go. When a person is strong and they can climb. It's he knows what people are capable of. And I think I reflect him because when I'm hiring people for my game, for voice acting and stuff, I know who to hire because I know people's skills and if they're going to be good at this job, if I'm going to have a hard time working with them. So that's my perspective on the novel study Everest. But I've always had a question for you. What are your thoughts, and how do you think it the movie Coach Carter reflects to your life? How do you know any similarities and differences?
For the movie Coach Carter, it's a powerful movie because you got kids who come from a struggling background who want to do the sport and love the sport basketball, and they want to do anything to achieve it. And then you got Coach Carter, who's very strict. He's like a well-formed person, and he comes in and he disciplines the kids by making them do exercises for being late, or not letting them play due to their grades not being good, or them not showing up to classes. And it just goes to show that like he does care about the kids, you know, and he wants them to do better, because he had a talk with them in part of the movie where he talked about them getting to university and college, but to do that they had to get the grades better, and they had to put their 100% into basketball and school. And that really resembles with my life, because like when I think about it in my past, I didn't try in school, and my grades weren't the best, but I wanted to improve myself, and I worked towards improving my grades. And then eventually when we got into grade 7, I was able to do the opportunity of joining basketball. And the thing is, if you're not caught up in your work, then you can't do basketball. And so I've really tried, and now I have good grades that I'm very happy with, and I'm now in my 3rd year of basketball, which I'm happy about, and I do really good in it.
That's great. For me, Coach Carter was actually, this year was one of my favorite movies that we watched in class. I really liked the character design. I really liked how they represented the characters. I like everything about the movie. Something that I feel like relates the movie to me is Coach Carter. He's a strict and disciplined leader that shows like strength and leadership with his disciplined rules and him being strict. And I think I'm similar with him, because when back in the day, this was like COVID, when COVID just started, I loved hanging out with friends, right? And one of the things was I was homeschooled because Seesaw wasn't working, online school wasn't working, so my mom told me, okay, since that's not working, I guess I'll just get you assignments. You can read books, you can do math, you can write English and stuff. And I really didn't like that. I would rather go to school than do that. And every single day, I would want to go outside and play with my friends, but I couldn't until I did some work. And it was kind of like relating to Coach Carter, because he puts the assignments, like he said, if you guys don't do good in your schoolwork, then you can't play basketball. And I feel like that kind of relates with me. If I don't do my homework and don't do the work I'm supposed to, I won't be able to do something that I like and enjoy, which is going outside and playing with my friends.
So moving on, what about the movie Alive? Because it also is sort of in like, it compares with like the Everest book with the cold climate and everything, where a rugby team who is flying in a plane crashes and they have to survive. So what are your thoughts on that? What would you do in that situation, and how does it compare with your life?
Well, I think that it resembles with my life, because it's a group of people, right? And there's two students that stand out, and they're coaches of the team, and they say, hey, like they're basically like the leaders of the group. They command what to do. Okay, today we're going to be rationing food. We have to do this and this and this. Sometimes they may be wrong, but most of the time they're in charge and choosing the decision that the team has to make. So I think that the leader has to be good. If anybody else was the leader, I don't think they would have survived. I think that the leader is the thing that represents how they survived and stuff. So how I think that relates to my life is, I think it's, if you have a good leader, you can succeed in anything. Like basketball, we have two good leaders, and like these two leaders, they guide us in the right direction. Like the first game we lost, we went against Rosetown and we lost 50-90. But the second time we went against Rosetown, it was like 30-50. We did much better. And I think that's great, because that shows that those two leaders are great, and they actually see what we need to improve on and help us improve. They want us to reach our full potential. And I think that's just like in the movie Alive, because there's two leaders and they're trying to like survive. They're trying to succeed in what they're doing. So that's how I think that my life relates to the movie Alive. But what about you? How do you think?
Well, for me, from my perspective, the movie Alive, it was really about like survival, because these are like let's say teenagers when this happened, and they crash landed and everyone was freaking out because there was people injured and dead, and just people were just freaking out. And then people like the two leaders, they took charge and they made sure that everyone was okay, and they started thinking about supplies and all that, and also like they eventually made it out alive, like with some losses, which is just so sad. But for me, it resembles a lot with my life, because when you're a leader of a group and something bad happens and it stresses everyone out, it's like you want to be there for them and you want to make sure that they're okay and that they don't need to stress out about anything, and then it's going to be okay. Because like with group projects in the past that I've been a leader of, if something came up and I had to deal with it, I'd find a solution as fast as I could. That way the group wouldn't have to panic and they wouldn't lose motivation to keep going and pushing themselves to their 100%, It shows you that you need to have resilience and you need to give it your all to make sure that you can survive through any challenge you may face. Like maybe it's not as drastic as a life or death situation like the movie Alive showed you, but whether it's maybe you need to figure out whether you hang out with your friends or do schoolwork, you need to think like, which one's more important, and is there a way I could do both of the things I enjoy? And you can, because you can find ways to basically do anything. You just need to think clearly. You need to stay calm, and you need to think about like, can I do this and then this? Can I just do my schoolwork till I'm confident enough, and then go hang out with my friends for a little bit and stuff like that? So yeah, that's how it resembles with mine.
That's actually a really good answer. Okay, now switching gears, we watched the movie Sully, and I just want to know what's your thoughts about the movie and how it reflects to your life.
Sully is a really good one, where a pilot who is flying a plane has a bird strike the engine, and basically he has to make a split-second decision while people in like the air control tower, they're saying, hey, you need to land at the airport. But Sully, he knew that he wasn't gonna make it. Like, that's the thing. As a leader, you need to be able to have confidence in yourself and be able to think quickly like that. Because when a problem comes up, if you can't find a solution to it as fast as possible, it could lead in a disaster. Like, if, say, in the future, when in college or university, you have a group, and say it's a project that counts for a high % of your grade, if a problem comes up and you can't solve it, it's just gonna crumble and then you won't do good. That's why I feel like Sully is an inspiration, because in that moment, he made the quick decision to save everybody's life by landing in the river. And even though like he went under some like interview because of it with like people who thought, hey, you could have landed at the airport, what you did wasn't okay. But he proved them wrong and stayed calm and showed everyone that like I can be trusted. And that's what really is inspirational, and it makes you want to be like him as a good leader. So what about you, Ivan?
Well, I think that Sully was a good movie, even though I have never watched that movie, but from what I hear, I think it's a really good movie about a person that is flying a plane and a bird strike happens and then he has to make a quick move to save the passengers. I think that was brave of him to do. He knew that he wasn't going to make it to the airport. So I think that's a really good move to land at that river. There were a lot of allegations, I'll call it, and he did have to go to court, but I think it was all worth it. He stood his point and knew what he was talking about. And the way I think that reflects in my life is sometimes you have two decisions, an easy one and a hard one. And you know you usually know which one is right, but somebody else might tell you, hey, this is wrong, but you know what's right and wrong, so you want to do what you know is right or wrong. And in my case, it would be when I start coding, people saying, hey, that's wrong, you shouldn't do that, do not do that, that's gonna break your game and stuff. And I kind of started believing it, but then I thought to myself, why would I believe them? I know what I'm doing, so why should I listen to somebody that doesn't know what they're doing? So I just trusted myself, and I ended up making a successful game.
So the next topic we have is our final one, Legally Blonde. Now, this is a movie about stereotypes, right? And the main character, Elle, is your typical blonde stereotype where you think, oh, blondes are all dumb and everything, but she wanted to become a lawyer to prove her ex wrong because he left her for a girl who was studying at Harvard to become a lawyer, and so was he. And she wanted to get him back, so she became a lawyer. But later on, she realized she didn't want him anymore. She wanted to prove everyone wrong because they were all saying like, oh, you can't be a lawyer, you're too stupid for that. But she really did prove everyone wrong, and at the end of the movie we saw that. And it resembles to me because like there's been stereotypes about me and everything, but I never really let it get to me, you know, because I wanted to prove everyone wrong and show them like, hey, I can do this, you shouldn't doubt me, you know? Especially with like, maybe it's schoolwork or whether it's gaming with friends or something like that, something just casual. It's just, when people doubt you, some people just immediately go like, I suck, I quit. But if you really have the dedication and the persistence to keep going, then you'll be able to prove everyone wrong. So what about you?
I think that the Legally Blonde movie was also really good. I really like the main character, how Elle, she is a blonde and there's multiple stereotypes around her and she wants to prove people wrong, and she does that by, when her boyfriend breaks up with her, she does that by joining the same university as him and like fighting and showing people that I'm not a stupid blonde, I got into Harvard, I know what I'm doing. And I think that's a really strong of her. And I think this relates to everybody. There's many different stereotypes around the world and many people believe them. I think that if there was no stereotypes, everybody would be much happier. I think that if there's a stereotype around you, you shouldn't listen to it. Just do what you feel like you want to do. And like, just be yourself. So the way I think that would like relate to my life is, back in my old school, SRAZ, I used to get bullied and there's like stereotypes about me and stuff, and I had only one friend and his name was Mac, right? And he was one that stood up for me. Whenever I got bullied and people called me, oh, you're so stupid and stuff, he would stand up for me and he would be like, hey, he's not stupid, he's smarter than you. You don't even know how to do basic math and stuff. And I think that's a skill of a good leader. Knowing when your friend is hurt and standing up for them. I think that's like really powerful, and I think he did the right thing. So those are my thoughts on the movie Legally Blonde.
And that's it for today's episode.
I hope you all enjoyed episode 1 of the Spotlight series.
Make sure to like and subscribe with post notifications turned on so you can find more amazing stories on our channel.
and tell us about your thoughts on these movies and how they relate to you.
Until then, see you next time on the Spotlight series.